Hello, friends, and welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. I'm your host, Tom Downey, and naturally we'll start things off with some Earl Thomas talk in today's Cowboys Rumors Roundup because, well, that's all anyone was talking about yesterday on Twitter. So first up, 4 stars on this first rumor. Yeah, Dallas offered a second-round pick for Earl Thomas. Now, if you watch the Cowboys Report, if you are a regular watcher, you already know this was going to be the offer. We've told you this for months, that Earl Thomas and the Cowboys and the Seahawks would eventually try to come down to a second-round pick. The question is, would that be enough? Well, Seattle said no, and that was actually, I think, a little bit surprising to me because if you're the Seahawks, he's probably going to leave as soon as he can. Wouldn't you rather get a second-round pick now than a third or fourth-round comp pick that's going to be way later? That's a pretty significant change in terms of overall draft position. So, yes, the Cowboys offered a second-round pick. Yes, Seattle said no. We'll talk more about the future there as to what that means in a little bit. But next up on our rumors roundup is namely, should the Cowboys have offered a first-round pick for Earl Thomas? And this comes to us from the legendary accurate reporter Skip Bayless. And Skip, this is fake news. What are you talking about? Earl Thomas is not worth a first-round pick. In a bubble, pure talent-wise, sure. But you got to pay ET, let's say around at least $13 million a year. There is no team willing to make that trade with the Seattle Seahawks. It doesn't make sense for the Cowboys because you have to pay somebody and give up a draft pick. A first-round pick is too expensive, especially when we don't know what it's going to be. Yeah, it'd probably be in the 20s with Earl Thomas, but heaven forbid Dak and Zeke and all those guys get hurt. All of a sudden, that first-round pick could become top 10. It is not worth trading away first-round pick for Earl Thomas. Strongly disagree on that one. All right, next up, is the Earl Thomas dream dead? I saw that headline from SB Nation here. The dream is not dead. I'll give this one 3 stars. It's not completely alive forever, and maybe the trade dream is taking a bit of a hit. But the Cowboys, per the Dallas Morning News, think that the Seahawks will lessen their trade demands. That's the big one. Now, watch the trade deadline and or after Week 3 when the Cowboys play the Seattle Seahawks. Thomas, by the way, is still unhappy. He's not a happy camper for the Seahawks right now. He felt disrespected by the Seahawks, really lack of offers for him and lack of any real impetus to trade him. Thomas also, by the way, liked tweets about joining the Dallas Cowboys. And, oh, yeah, he's going to be a free agent next year. And, yeah, Seattle could still franchise tag him. I don't know if that's the route they really want to go down, given the issues they've had in the past there. But the Cowboys have the cap space to afford Earl Thomas in 2019 free agency. That's kind of my initial thought was if you made a pick between in a Cowboys uniform for this year or next year, I lean more towards 2019 free agency because I think it makes more sense and it allows the Cowboys to pay him and not give up a draft pick. And oh, by the way, if ET really wants to be a Cowboy, go sign with Dallas and see if he's actually just using the Cowboys as a leverage chip or not. So, folks, let me know if you think Earl Thomas will play for the Cowboys in 2019. Type in Y for yes and type in N for no. And, folks, today's show was brought to you by BetDSI. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus. What that means is if you put in $100, they'll give you $120 free for a grand total of $220 to bet with on BetDSI. Once again, promo code Cowboys120, chatsports.com/bet is the website. All right, some more rumors to digest here for the Cowboys. How about Xavier Su'a Filo heading to Dallas? I'll give this one 2 stars, still kind of firmly in the rumor category. The Cowboys, though, are working out Su'a Filo, the former second-round pick by the Houston Texans. Now, Su'a Filo was on the Titans roster this year, was competing for a roster spot, and lost the battle. And now, Cowboys are at least a little bit concerned about the interior depth because they traded for Parker Enger, and now he is battling his own little knee injury. Of course, Frederick is not going to play in Week 1. Enger is kind of more of a question mark. Adam Redmond's a center, so once again, the Cowboys' depth, especially on the interior, very much in doubt. So 2 stars on this one. Keep an eye out for that potential signing later this week or even later today. All right, speaking of signings, how about a Cole Beasley extension? Now, if you go back to previous Cowboys reports, I've given this 1 star, and I'm sticking with just the 1 star here. And by the way, Cole Beasley more or less confirmed exactly what we've said on the show. Yeah, the Cowboys might want a deal because he's kind of cheap right now coming off a down year, but if you're Cole Beasley, why would you take a new contract when you are at your lowest value you've been in several years? Beasley wants to maximize his value with a big season. The way to maximize your value is not to sign a new contract extension right after you had a down year. So the Cowboys did go to Beasley, but hey, can we maybe work out a deal, work out a new extension? And Cole Beasley was like, thanks, but no thanks. Doesn't make sense for me after having 75 catches, 52 catches, 37 catches, after my worst year in the last 4 years, to sign a new deal. Doesn't make sense for Cole Beasley. I think he bounces back this year because Dak trusts him, and maybe then you see a new extension for Cole Beasley and the Cowboys. But right now, I'd be stunned if it happened just the 1 star. More maybe bad news here for the Cowboys. Could Rico Gathers be suspended? We'll keep this at 2 stars here, but Jerry Jones confirmed what kind of we all knew about. Rico is in the bit of danger of getting suspended by the NFL because, don't forget about Friday before he made the Cowboys roster, Rico Gathers was arrested for marijuana possession. Now, I'm not going to say it's an automatic suspension because we've seen things happen. I mean, for example, we saw Terrence Williams get away with more or less crashing his car while intoxicated. Maybe Rico could get away with something similar there. So there is the possibility that he could face a suspension for the arrest, but it's still so early. We know how the NFL tends to drag these cases out that I'm going to keep it in 2 stars in the 2-star category for right now. But speaking of Rico, now that he's on the Cowboys 53-man roster, how many touchdowns will he have this year? Let me know in the comments section. I cannot wait to see what you guys say. I'm sure we'll have some zeros, and I think I already see some big numbers flowing in. So let me know in the comments section. I'll give you my thoughts in there as well.